I'm going to build a circuit today, and I'm going to film the entire thing, so if anyone wants to learn how to build a circuit from scratch, then they will know how to. I'm gonna show you how to read the schematic and what stuff is and how to put it together. So it's going to be a long video, and basically I'm making the Big Muff, but it'll be the triangle version. The triangle version has I think this one down here, so it looks like a triangle. Anyways, so we start with a PCB board, and you can get these for about $1 on Amazon. We're going to need solder and a soldering iron and a schematic. And I'll put a link in the description to this, and this is the schematic I'll be looking at. My phone's not turning. There we go. Now let's shrink this a bit so you guys can see. Before I get too far into this video, I want you guys to know that I kind of changed my mind once I was halfway through it, and I decided I'm not going to do the complete project unless maybe enough people request it, but I doubt that because I have a really small channel. But it's still going to be useful. I kind of started building this basically. That's as far as I got so far. But up to this point, you can see me reading the schematic and putting in stuff, and it's pretty much the same all the way through. So it is worth watching. And I decided not to make the entire project because it gets kind of redundant and boring. Well, with that said, back to the project. So that's the schematic I'll be making. The beginning of the schematic is on this side. This is the left side. This is where I always start. The first thing on here is an input. So I need an input wire, because this is going to basically go from one of these, you know, the input, your guitar jack. It's where your guitar goes in. And this wire is, I believe it's a 22 AWG, 22 gauge. And I get it from Amazon. It's got like a silicone cover. It's really good quality stuff. So I'm cutting it, and I'm twisting the wires together. Now I'll put this down so I can hold that. And this is called tinting the wires. Getting my soldering iron ready. Oh yeah, my soldering iron. So you want to clean off the tip, because the tip gets like burnt and it won't. The solder needs to stick to it, so you want to clean your solder tip off every time you use it. And now I'm gonna put the solder tip on the wire and put this wire next to the soldering wire, and see, you soak in the solder like that. And now I think I want to start the circuit, I don't know, I guess right around there. I might start the circuit up here. I might run out of room and have to go down here later. Put like a little jumper down here. Maybe I'll put that up one more. Yeah. And so I got that in there. And then I'll solder it in. And I want it poking out a little bit. There we go. I heated it up and stuck it down in there so it's sticking out, because the next part I have to wrap around that and connect. So let me see what's the next part. This symbol is for a resistor, and then this symbol next to it is for a capacitor. So right now we're going to need a 33K resistor. 33, the K is 1,000, so 33,000 ohms. And I have this box full of different resistors, and they're all organized, so I kind of shuffle through them. I put a little, I got flashcards, and I fold them, and I put my resistors in there. So when I sit them down, I can have them all organized. So let's go to 33K. 30K. Right here, 33K. I'll take some out. It's good to check your resistors if you want your pedal to sound accurate, like what it's supposed to sound like. Then you want to get the best resistors. So I'm gonna use my multimeter here, and this is a Syntex 593. This was inexpensive, and I really like it. It's been a good multimeter. It's from Harbor Freight. I've got more expensive ones that didn't work very well. So you switch it to ohms here, and 33K. So you want to go to the lowest setting. So 33K is, wait, that's ohms. This is 200 ohms, 2K, 20K, 200K. So 200K is the lowest I can go. Is this right? This thing, the little arrow is kind of off, so it's confusing me. Yeah. Okay, so we're at 200K, and we're going to test this, and it should be about 33K. And it's 32.3K. Let's see if we could do a little bit better than that. 32.4. 32.2. As long as they're within 10%, like 5 or 10%, they're fine. This is 32.2. I guess I'm going to use that one. There's different ways of putting these in. A lot of people like to put them in this way, flat. You bend the legs down like a horseshoe and you stick them in, but that takes up a lot of space. So I like to bend this over like this and put them in that way. So this is sticking straight up, so it saves a lot of real estate on the board, so you can make your board smaller. I'm kind of wrapping that around there. I forgot to talk about the size of resistor you'll need. These are 1/2 watt resistors, and that's mostly what I use. You can get smaller resistors that are 1/4 watt or 1/8 watt or 16th watt. You can get bigger ones that are 1 watt. But the 1/2 watt seems to be good for me because it's overkill for most pedal applications, probably all of them, which means it's really durable. It's going to be more robust because it takes way more power than your pedals putting into it. And I just don't stress it, I use the big ones. So if you want it really tiny, then you might have to do calculations to get the tiniest one you can get in there. But that's why I use 1/2 watt, and I just don't worry about the calculations. So now I'm gonna snip this little wire off. Smaller wire cutters would be much better, but they're harder to find. Hence the reason I don't have them right now. I'm trying to cram this wire back in there. So it's kind of flat. And now I'll put a little bit of solder on that. There we go. You don't want to keep it on there too long, or else it'll ruin the transistor. The next part is a 0.12 UF. And this little C1, that's just the name of that. So they'll have a parts list, and it'll say C1 is 0.12 UF. That's the capacitor. Electrolytic capacitors, this is a symbol for them, and this C1 is a negative, and this one is a positive. There's a little stripe right here. Maybe you can see better on this picture. That little stripe right there is the negative. Another way to tell if it's negative or positive is the positive side is longer. And now I'll turn this around. And see, I have my leg from the resistor that I put in there. I have that leg. I'm just gonna fold it down, and then I'm gonna fold my other one down like that. And I'm gonna solder those and then clip this excess off. Found my other wire cutters, my small ones. A little trick I do with these, I didn't do it to these, but if you have a grinder, you grind this flat until it gets down to those little teeth right there, because it kind of, there's a bump, it comes out. But if you grind this flat, then you can, it just works really nice. It's a much more accurate cutter. Now there's this junction here, and it's going to go down to a 100K resistor, and it's going to go to a transistor. That's a transistor right there, which I'm going to put a germanium transistor in there. And then it goes to this 470 ohms, and then it's supposed to go to this 500 picofarad capacitor, but it says intentionally missing, so I'm guessing not to put that in there. So let's find these parts. I'll go back through my resistor bin. Here's my 100K resistors, and I'm going to go through them. I'll set my multimeter to 200K because that's the lowest I can set with this. .98, 98.3, 98.8. That's not bad. 98.5. What was this one? The third one's pretty good. 98.2. 98.7. 98.7. 0.1. 99.7. That's pretty good. That's the one I'm getting. It's a good one. This 100K resistor goes down to ground. So I'm going to be connecting all these grounds together, and at the end I'll have a jumper wire going to the ground of the chassis and the ground of the potentiometers. Again, I'm going to bend the top over so it's like a horseshoe. And I'll get it out of the way over here. I guess like that. Gonna wrap it around this positive leg of the resistor. Oh, I mean capacitor. I'm gonna clip this off. This other leg is gonna have to go to a lot of different things, so as for now, I'm not gonna solder this. I'm just gonna solder this part where the resistor's at. I'm going to also leave this negative side alone until I get the next part, and this will go down to the other negative part, ground part that is. We just installed this resistor right here. Now let's do the transistor. But I'm going to be doing germanium, and I might experiment. I might not like the germanium. I might go back to silicone. So I'm going to put a socket in here. There's the parts number if you want to try to find these. I've probably got them on Amazon. You can also get them on Antique Electronics, I think. I get a lot of stuff from there. I will actually need 4 of these for this project, so let me grab those right now. And I'll need another one for the diodes, because no, won't need them for the diodes. I'm going to put multiple diodes on a switch to select them. We'll get to that later. So right now we're doing a transistor socket. We want to keep track of which leg is which. Yeah, I should leave some room in here, I guess. But maybe not. Well, those germanium transistors can get big, so I'll leave a good chunk of space in there. So let's go straight down to the middle one. Looping the wire back around. It's going to be hard. There we go. Sometimes when you get these in, they're crooked, so you want to kind of hold it with your finger and you put the solder on it, and then you kind of move this around so you can get the socket straight. Unless you don't care about it being straight. Socket's in now. This one goes to the ground. We need another 100K. No, this is a 100 ohm resistor, not 100K. Oh, did I mess up already? I already messed up. This 100K resistor is supposed to be a trim pot because this controls the bias of this transistor. So this resistor needs to be taken out, and I need to put in a biasing pot. If you're using the transistors that's supposed to be in it, you don't have to worry as much about biasing, but when you're, like, if you want it perfect, you want to bias it, and if you're doing germanium, then you want to bias it. Because germanium, they sound better, but they're a pain in the butt. They're very inconsistent. So we need something 100K, probably 150K or 200K. 200K. Yeah, 200K I would think would be fine. We'll do that, 200K ohms. And the number on that is 204, and this is 204, so that's my 200K ohms. And before I do it, I should probably set this. Oh man, it could end up being significantly more, huh? I've decided I'm going to go with 500K because it's more versatile. I have no idea. I'm sure it's way overkill. I have no idea what I'm going to bias it at. So now I'm going to pre-dial these in for 100K. I've got my meter set to 2 meg right now. 246. No, it has to be down to 100. Probably click to 200K now. That's pretty good right there. So now I'll pop this resistor out. That was such a mistake. Got a solder sucker here, and you push this and it sucks the solder up. Just I have to warm it. There's also you can get this like braided wire and soak it up into the wire, but that generally doesn't work as well. You have to be quick. Pulling on the other side, and I got it out. I got it out. Let's, bit of wire still hanging on here. Now let's go back to the schematic. That's right, it's supposed to be 100K. I'm gonna put it up here. Oh, it's got a long ways to go, huh? Yeah, I like it better over here. Now I will get a jumper wire to finish. I found this wire that I cut off of something, and it'll be my jumper wire. I like to make a little hook so I can really get a hold of that other wire. Have a nice mechanical connection and a solder. Leg I'm not going to use. This middle leg will go to ground. I like to use black for my grounds. These are wire strippers. Harbor Freight. I really like these, the Harbor Freight ones. I bought more expensive ones and they didn't work as good. tinting the wire. Now we'll put it in the middle. This is going to be the ground. Let me show you what we did on the schematic. So what I just did was I replaced this 100K with a variable resistor, and because it's going to bias this, so it's not necessarily going to be 100K when it's done. I'm going to adjust that to get the right voltage out of here, which I believe is supposed to be 4.5. I looked it up and that's what I could find. And this ground is the black wire. This goes to ground. I'm going to write that on there. And I will also label this input, because I never did that. It's where the guitar goes in. I'm pretty sure I adjusted the wrong side of this. There's 3 little bits on the this variable resistor, so I'm going to readjust that. Make sure that it is at 100K. Yep, needs to be adjusted. Oops, wrong way. Perfect. I'm going to label this so I don't forget. It's Q4 transistor. This next part of the circuit is 100 ohms. I'm going to want to play with this because it's going to change the gain. So I'm going to put a variable resistor that's 100 ohms instead of an actual resistor. So I'll put in a 200 ohm variable resistor. I should probably label it before I put it in. R22. Bend that middle one down. That's going to go to my ground, which is right here. This top one doesn't get soldered to anything, but I'm still soldering it to the board, so because it helps it from moving around. I'm gonna have to put a jumper from that middle leg to the ground. Now I'm gonna clip this off, my jumper wire. And the other one goes, I forgot where it goes. Goes to the bottom of this. Gonna need a jumper wire for that too. let that dry a little bit. That's what I was afraid of. You get it too hot and the whole thing moves around. It's way hotter than I wanted to get that. Now it's jumped, if you see right there. Gonna need solder. Cool. Touching this up because I sucked the solder off of it. Now I gotta check everything. Let me cut this off first. This excess wire jumper. That's correct, it's given the resistance that it's supposed to. Cool. Yep, 100K. Wait, is that right? That's 0.100K. Oh, that's right. It needed to be 100 ohms. Yeah, and that's 100 ohms. A little bit off. I think I could do better than that. I'm gonna adjust it. Cool. What we just did was we made the variable resistor here between the transistor and ground. I'm going to end the video right here because it's starting to get long, but I do plan on in the future making a full video, like of a full project, but it's going to be a much smaller project because the Big Muff is a big project for like experts. So I'll do something more of a beginner, like maybe a fuzz face or a Baz fuss, or I don't know, some kind of simple distortion circuit or something. If you have any requests, put them down. I might choose one over the other. So yeah, that's it for the video. If you got this far, let me know. Put something down in the comments saying you got to the end. I'd be interested to know if anyone's actually watched this entire video. It's something that I would have enjoyed watching when I first started doing this, because it's really helpful to watch someone actually do it. Okay, I'll see you in the next one.